Hey guys, what's up? It's been a minute. I know I always say that, but it really has been a minute. 8 months to be exact since I've filmed a YouTube video, and I am so sorry for anybody who watches or cares because I had a baby. I don't know if you guys knew that. And how cute is this background, y'all? This is in baby Bentley's nursery. I was like, what a better way to film this than in his room. Where do I even begin? I remember coming home from work and I didn't have any particular symptoms or warning signs that I was about to be going to the hospital. It was just a normal everyday day, and I came home to cook dinner, and while I'm cooking dinner I just started having these like hot gushes of water in my pants, and I'm like, what's going on now? What's going on? I just decided to put a pad on because I'm like, this is a little much. You can't really like just walk around and do things without like everything getting soaked down there. Literally, you guys, it was like every couple of minutes, or if I would laugh, more gushes of water. So I went to the bathroom and I like checked the pad, and it was a clear like liquid, and it had no smell, no color, nothing. And so I got on good old YouTube and I watched a video where a girl was talking all about how she was leaking amniotic fluid and how the doctor was like, yeah, you need to come in tonight. So I start freaking out a little bit, and I'm like, I don't want to be that girl though that shows up at the hospital and there's nothing wrong. And Chris was like, I think we should go, like, who cares? He's like, I don't think we're coming back tonight. And I'm just like, what? Like, no, don't say that. So anyways, we packed our bags just in case we didn't come back. And I decided to curl my hair and like get a little bit ready just in case, because I didn't want to look like a total shit show for my pictures. Headed over to the hospital, and meanwhile in the car, I don't have anything going on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, you know? But when we get there, I step out of the car and my pants are soaked. When I walked into the emergency room, there were so many people, and I could just feel people like staring at me and like looking at my butt. Anyways, I'm waiting, and they're like, what can we help you with? I'm like, I think my water broke. And they're like, oh my God. And then they called somebody to come get me in a wheelchair. And I did not want to sit in the wheelchair, but I kind of did to like hide my backside. So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna take this whole experience in and go in the wheelchair. So this guy comes and gets me and Chris and wheels us up to the labor and delivery room. But there's actually this room that they put you in before they put you in labor and delivery, because it's kind of like they have to determine where to put you. Because they don't know if you just like peed your pants or not. A nurse comes into this little room we're in, and she's like, I'm just going to take a sample of the fluid and I'm gonna go test it for what it is, if it's amniotic fluid or pee or whatever. So you guys, this next part is wild. The doctor comes in and he starts talking to me, right? And he's just like, oh, how's it going? I'm like, it's good, I guess. And then out of his mouth, out of nowhere, he goes, so did you paint your toes? And I'm like, no. Why? Oh man, you're like the third girl tonight who didn't paint their toes. And I'm just like, I did not expect to come here. Like, I'm not prepared. I didn't know that was like a qualification. And then he leaves and he comes back in like a few minutes later, and kid you not, you guys, here's my toes down here, right? He comes in, he's got his little clipboard, you know, and he's just like looking down at my feet, and he's just like, yeah, so we're going to check that fluid, and yeah, we'll let you know what's going on, but I just cannot believe you didn't paint your toes. What? And then he's like, well, we're gonna check to see how dilated you are. And I'm like, he's like, but I'm gonna let the nurse do that because I'm sure you don't want me doing that. And I'm like, and so he lets the nurse come in, thank you Jesus, and she checks my cervix, and I am dilated to a 3. Let me just tell you guys a little bit about checking your cervix first before I move on. I didn't know how they did it. I also didn't know how painful it was, because I hadn't been checked, because I was 37 weeks. I was 3 weeks early. So I didn't need that to happen yet. The way they check your cervix is literally they take their freaking whole hand, shove it up there, and like use a couple fingers to check like how dilated it is, like for the baby's head, you know? And it was so painful. It's only for like a couple seconds, but literally I was like, oh my God. And then once it's over, it's fine. But during your stay, they check you like 4 or 5 times. Fast forward to the fluid that came out. The nurse comes back in and she's like, so you're not leaving tonight. You're having a baby within 18 hours. And I'm just like, excuse me, what? The liquid was amniotic fluid. So I was having a slow leak in the sac, and the baby cannot live in the sac or grow anymore because obviously the fluid's leaking out, and that's just kind of how they live in that. She's like, we're gonna move you to the labor and delivery room, and we're gonna start slowly inducing you throughout the night, and you're gonna have a baby either tonight or tomorrow. My heart was racing, you guys. I was 3 weeks and 2 days early. I was not prepared. I did not even have a bassinet at home. Like, I had all these like thoughts going on in my head, you know, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. We end up getting moved, right? And then they the first thing they do is they start hooking up a couple things to you. They hook up a little monitor right here to monitor your contractions, and then also the baby's heartbeat. So one really cool thing is you can hear the baby's heartbeat all night long. It kind of is like, you know, reassuring. And then there's a little screen next to you and you can see all of your contractions, and then you can also see the person in the room next to you's contractions. But the really nice thing is you have your own room and your own bathroom, so you have a lot of privacy in there. And I have to add that I delivered at Sacred Heart for all my local people. So all of the nurses that I had were amazing. My night nurse and my day nurse were the best ones that I had during my labor and delivery process. Like, I feel so lucky that I was able to be there at that time with those people. Also, if you have a regular doctor and not like a midwife, they're all on call. So even if you had a specific doctor in mind, that doesn't mean you're gonna have that doctor deliver your baby. It depends on who's on call. So for example, I had Dr. Mathia, and then I ended up getting Dr. Spaniel, which she's amazing too. So I was like, this is a win either way. And so all night long, it was just like really kind of annoying. They had this like jelly on your belly with the monitor, and it would like, I would try to get some sleep because I knew that I was gonna have a baby soon and I knew I wasn't gonna get any sleep. So I was trying to sleep, but I had, you know, all this stuff hooked to me, and if I turned like and it slid off, this annoying beep would start happening, like really loud beeping. And so I would keep trying to find the baby's heart to like get it to shut up. And then when I couldn't figure it out, a nurse would come in, fix it, and then I would slowly drift off, and then a nurse would come in to bug me or poke me or whatever. Every hour on the hour, someone comes in that room and you just do not get sleep for days. And Chris is over here, you know, on this little bed, and they gave him a blanket and he's like snoring away. Morning time rolls around. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 a.m. and they delivered food to my room. I didn't know that you could choose what you wanted, but it was like eggs, hash browns, and sausages, which was awesome, but I'm not gonna lie, it tasted terrible. It was so bad. But all the other meals I had at my stay were actually good. It was just the breakfast was not good at all. But I'm not complaining because they actually let me eat it. And what I heard was that you can't eat when you go to the hospital and like to bring snacks and stuff, but that's actually not the case when I went. They let me have small snacks throughout the night. They let me have like graham crackers and just little things because they didn't want me like puking if I was about to go into labor or something like that, or if I was about to have my epidural. So I had my breakfast, and then 8 o'clock rolls around, and they were like, we're gonna check your cervix again. And then I think I was at a 5. So they're like, we're gonna up the Pitocin and just like get this baby coming. They have a little dial over here where they can like inject, you know, a little bit more into my IV. So I started feeling a little bit of contractions, and the way I could describe or compare contractions to is like if you ate some bad Mexican food and you, like, somebody's in the bathroom and you can't get in the bathroom and it's like clenching your stomach tight. 10 o'clock rolls around and honestly my stomach was hurting so bad I could not control it. I had to go to the bathroom like probably like 6 times. You want to go because you don't want to go on the table when you give birth. So highly advised that you just go use the bathroom. Unfortunately, you're like hooked to all these things. So you have to carry this big metal thing with you into the bathroom every time. It's kind of annoying, but you can do that up until you get the epidural. Once you get the epidural, you're stuck on the bed and you get a, what are they called? You get a catheter put in because you can't obviously move your legs or anything from like here down. So you're bed bound and you can't eat. So I waited till the very last second. I didn't know that. I thought you couldn't eat it all. I thought you couldn't do anything. You can literally do it all just until you get your epidural. I also thought once you were at a certain dilation that you couldn't get the epidural. Like I thought once you were at like an 8 that they're like, it's too late. But that's actually not true. So just as long as you can sit still while they do the epidural in your back, then you can get the epidural. So after I was done using the bathroom, I decided I was gonna get on this bouncy ball to like get things moving. And every time I would bounce, the contractions were like a 10-fold. It would be like every couple of minutes now. And I literally couldn't move. Like I would have to stop and be like clenching everything, and then it would kind of go away and I'm like, whoa. Bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, another contraction would come, and then 11 o'clock rolls around. So I probably bounced on the ball for like 45 minutes. And then she said we were gonna check me again at 11. So I go to stand up from the ball, kid you not, you guys. I stand up and it's like all the freaking water inside of my body was everywhere. Nurse comes in and she's like, whoa, let's check you again. She checks me again and I'm at an 8. And I'm just like, holy, like not that long ago, I was just at a 5. And so things were really moving along. I get up on the bed and she's like, if you're gonna have that epidural, you better do it now. I was pretty shaky. That's one thing they don't tell you is you're like shaking. Like my lips were chattering. I just don't know why. You just can't control it. Since I was pretty like squirmy, the nurse, she was so cool. She was so informative. She was like, do you want me to give you a little like medicine in your IV to like chill you out for the epidural? And I was just like, do you think that's a good idea? And she was like, yeah, totally. And then when she did that, like I was so mellowed out to where I was just like still having the contractions, but I was like calm down. And then they came in with the epidural, and honestly you guys, that did not hurt at all. I really didn't even feel the poke in my back. And then once that kicked in, I could not feel my contractions like at all. Maybe like 1%, but that honestly helped so much. I was numb from here down. My legs were so wobbly. The nurse was like, okay, let's do a practice push. So you guys, I'm up like this and my legs are right here, and like literally I couldn't control them. Like one was over here and one was over here. Chris was holding this leg, nurse was holding this leg. She's like, let's do a practice push and I'm gonna count down from 10 and you're just gonna go like, like you're taking a big poop. She's like, stop, 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 stop. And then she tells Chris, do you see that? And he's like, see what? And she's like, that's your baby's head. She gets down there and we get ready to do the real thing. And then we probably do about maybe 5 more pushes the same exact way. And he came right out. It was even funny when the baby was first coming out. The doctor was like, oh look, that's his hair. And she was like making a little mohawk out of his hair and puts him on my chest, and he's not crying or anything. He's just big wide open eyes blinking at me. And I remember the first thing Chris said was like, his eyes are so big. I forgot to tell you guys what I wore. So I just had a tank top on with like a spaghetti strap, and I had no bra on because I was gonna try to breastfeed. Luckily I didn't tear at all. I just had kind of like on the inside lining, I had like a not like a scratch, but like something a little bigger, she said. So she just put like a wad of like thick padding in there, and then she told me when I went to the bathroom like it might fall out the next time or the time after that, but it was just to kind of catch some of the blood in there. I also think it was because he was so early and so small. He was only 5 pounds 15 ounces. After I was done giving birth, they had to by law help me get up, and they have this really cool thing where you can get up there and grab, like, because you can't feel your legs for like an hour. So there was like 3 of them guiding me onto this thing, and I could grab onto it with my arms, and they were like helping. It like wheels you to the bathroom, and then they help you down, and they help you like get changed, and they have these amazing like diapers that they put ice packs in, and they just like line those with the Tux Hazel Witch pads. And then they also give you one of those Perry squirt bottles to like clean everything, so you don't have to wipe, because obviously that's painful. And every time I went, they helped me out, which was so nice. And at that point, you just don't give a shit who sees anything, because everybody already saw everything. And then they have like this spray. Oh my god, you guys, this spray. It was like a freeze spray for your vagina, and you just spray that on there every time after, because it burns a little when you're peeing and stuff. So you spray that down there, and it's like numb. After they got me all cleaned up down there and situated, they put me in a wheelchair and wheeled me off to the mom and baby room, where you can have friends and family come. So they all came in, they saw him, held him, but then we kept having people come in like from the hospital to prick his foot. They had to check his blood sugar. I think it was like every hour on the hour. So he had a lot of little pokes on his feet, and then they had to keep checking his temperature because he was a preemie. I ended up finding out that usually when your baby's a preemie, they don't let you leave for like 4 days. At this point, me and Chris, we were ready to get the hell out of there. And when he's a preemie, they want you to wake him up every 3 hours and feed him, because I guess they were telling me that they can be little tricksters, and they're like really sleepy. So you'll think that they're fed and you'll think that they're good, but really you need to keep up their weight. And babies automatically lose a couple of ounces within the first couple of days. That's totally normal. And my nurses were so cool. Every time they would wake baby up, they would wake me up, and they would help me out with like a new fresh like ice pack for down there and all that good stuff. When the nurse came in to tell us that we were gonna stay 4 days, I was like, please no. I was like, I fed him every 3 hours on the hour. Like, I did everything. His temperature was fine. Like, he passed all his little tests. Like, we just really want to go home. And it took a lot of convincing, but she ended up letting us go home. We got to go home. I think it was around like 5 o'clock. The girls came and saw their little baby brother, and they were so excited. It was just so, the whole experience. It was a lot, but it was just so good. At Sacred Heart, they also have a in-house photographer. I think it's called Bella Baby. They can come in your room and kind of schedule a time throughout the day or the next day to come do pictures with you. And they are super expensive, but I didn't want to not have pictures because we didn't have anyone taking pictures of us during labor or anything like that. So we ended up naming him Bentley Bobby Gray. Bentley, we just loved that name. Bobby is my dad's name, and Gray is Chris's last name. He's just the most handsome little man, and he is almost 3 months now. If I have any piece of advice for you guys who are about to be new moms, it is to just kind of like take things in. We had family here for the first 5 days, so I didn't even really have time to like compartmentalize that I didn't even have a baby inside of me anymore. Like, it was just people wanting to see the baby, and I get it, like, he's so cute. Who doesn't want to come see the new baby? But you just don't have time to yourselves. You don't have time to sleep. You just don't have time to do anything, and it's really hard. You're trying to figure things out, but there's people here, you know, all the time. So that was just extremely hard. There's my little booger. He's the cutest little thing. He's so big now. He's 12 pounds compared to 5. I just cannot believe how big he is getting. But I think that's everything. I hope I remembered everything. It's, you know, been a while. So if you guys have any questions down below, I always respond. Yeah, I missed you guys, and I miss doing this. It just feels so good to do it again. I'm gonna be following up on my next video with all of my favorite products. So I will see you guys next time.